What's up, everyone? We're back with the second edition of our picks for TikTok and Twitter. Um, I had a rough week last week, so I'm looking to bounce back. Grayson looking to build on a positive week. We're going to start in college football. First game, all ranked matchups for us today. We're going to go to UK versus Ole Miss. What are you thinking with that?
I think it's a pretty underrated quarterback battle. Will Levis gets all the hype, but Jackson Dart has done some good things at a young place in his career at Ole Miss. So I think the touchdown is a bit much. I mean, with these students, it's always a big part of the handicap, especially in college, as a lot as some of these places can get. I mean, we had Lane Kiffin up on a mic this week begging students to show up and stay there. So I don't know if the presence of Barstool's Ben Mintz is going to help with that at all, but I struggle to lay 7 with a team at home as talented as I think they are. And I think they're better than Kentucky, but with Kentucky already going into the swamp and winning early this year, I don't love it. If it was 7.5 or 6.5, I'd probably go Ole Miss, but just with the chance of that maybe late push, I'm going to go Kentucky here plus the 7 points.
Yeah, I'm with you. And we're seeing a lot of like reverse movement here. Like a lot of money's going towards UK, and it's still kind of going up. So I don't really know what's going on there. But my thing is, Kentucky's getting their best running back this week, and they've been averaging only like 2.9 yards per carry before this. Both teams' schedules have been kind of like meh. I mean, Kentucky did beat Anthony Richardson in Florida, which is a good win, but they haven't necessarily faced a true offense, I guess, yet. So I get really it just depends on which defense comes to play. Like you said, home field advantage has had to have a lot to do with this line, I would assume. But I personally like the under. Ole Miss unders are like 9-0 in the past 9 games. So with the under like being so prevalent for their games, I feel like 7's a lot. So I'm gonna also take UK in the 7 here.
Yeah, I like that. I think this is maybe a bit closer again than people thought. I think Ole Miss certainly may be the better team, but I mean, as long as Kentucky can keep it within a touchdown, then we're going to get there as well. So, yeah, and then another ranked matchup, one of the bigger ones on the slate. Honestly, we got a top, we'll call it 15 matchup with Baylor at 16 in the Big 12, but it's Oklahoma State, and their first true test is number 9, heading to Waco to face the number 16 Baylor team, fresh off a win at Ames last week. Not the most challenging opponent, but not an easy place to play, especially in the Big 12. As far as it's kind of like the Pac-12, we see a lot of carnage in these road spots. I think I'm going to take Baylor here. They already have the loss to BYU on the road, double overtime. I think that they're a little bit more battle tested, and I think I like them at home. The numbers don't, beside the teams I don't think matter as much in these games, I'm going to take Baylor. It's 2.5 right now. I'm comfortable with that. I'd play it up to 3. They could easily win by a touchdown or more, but I think Spencer Sanders is a bit too talented to give him that much credit. So, yeah, I'm good at minus 2.5 with Baylor.
I'm going to actually go on the other side. I'm going to take Oklahoma State on this. I'm with you on like the Big 12 being like Pac-12 and road games are very hard to win, but I think Oklahoma State has a little bit of motivation coming off that gut-wrenching like Big 12 championship loss last year, where they were only a yard or so away from winning. So I think that gives them a little extra motivation to kind of take that step in their first test of the season. And like you were saying with Spencer, he's probably the better quarterback in my opinion in this game. So I think with a close game, I'm gonna lean towards him. I am a little nervous to see Oklahoma State's defense in their first true test. Their pass rush is really good, and Baylor is top 25 in the red zone. So kind of playing devil's advocate. I was kind of leaning Baylor at first, but just kind of thinking of the talent that's on Oklahoma State's side made me switch sides. And I would take them probably at the plus 2.5, maybe sprinkle the money line.
Yeah, if you're going to take short dogs, definitely take a look at the money line as well. We see it a lot in the NFL week in, week out, but it can hold true in college as well. Third game, third conference. It's the ACC, not the one in prime time just yet, but it is at 3:30. Number 2, Wake Forest, fresh off a thriller loss, unfortunately, to Clemson last week. Heads on the road now to number 23, Florida State, led by Jordan Travis. Florida State currently 6.5-point favorites at home. Hopefully the weather won't be too much of a factor there, but almost in that same vein, I do think that who has the ball the most is going to play a big factor. We saw what Hartman can do with the ball last week against Clemson. There's a beat up back four there, but he still did what he had to do. And a lot of those throws, I don't know if any corner is going to break up. So I think Florida State's going to lean on the run game. They have the better run game. I think Wake's receivers are absolutely elite, maybe the best in the ACC. But I'm going to trust Jordan Travis on the ground as well as the run game to win in the trenches, shorten the game, control the ball, win time possession, and just do enough to win. I don't love that it's all the way out at 6.5, but I just don't know if I can trust Wake Forest on the road after last week. And we saw, and they had an 8-point lead late and let it slip away, and they ended up not covering that game, I don't think either. So I don't know if it's the exact same script playing out, but I'm going to trust Florida State at home here to really break out and prove that this is maybe a year they can play spoiler. Wake Forest had their shot last week, and I think Florida State, if they get past Wake Forest, they've got a date with us at home in November that could really be one you circle even now. So yeah, give me the Seminoles minus 6.5.
Yeah, we're finally together on a game again. I agree. I think if the weather was better, I would probably go Wake Forest, honestly. Just because of that late mesh. I know we talk about it all the time. Just the way that he keeps it in the mesh and he can pull it, run it. He can let the running back run it. It's just very difficult to defend. And Florida State's defense allows some passing. Like, they're pretty stout. But with the weather being the way that it is, I think Florida State having the way better run offense and, like you were saying, win in the trenches, they'll come away with the win here. Like you were saying, 6.5 is probably like right at the border of where I would go with it. That's the only reason why it's hard to go against Wake Forest, because they're such a high-powered offense. But I think Florida State's going to kind of play a little keep away here and really control the ball and just move it down the field pretty easily with the run.
Yeah, I mean, it should be one of two very key and very good ACC Atlantic games. We'll get to the last one here in a minute. But before we do that, we do have number 2 Alabama laying at 17.5 points going into Fayetteville, Arkansas to face the number 20 Razorbacks led by KJ Jefferson, fresh off one of the strangest losses of the season so far. You see a field goal doink off the top of the right upright. That's just something you don't see every year, at least. I mean, I can't remember last time I saw that ever. So just a very odd way to lose a heartbreaker in Jerry World last week to A&M. And here they are playing an even better defense. But I will say my bet on this game, if I had to, would be the under. It's at 60.5. I don't see Arkansas at 30, and I don't see Alabama at 40. So I think this is maybe not like we saw Alabama and Auburn last year on the road in Jordan-Hare. They didn't even get to 50 in like 4 overtimes. But I do think the Bama defense is going to be disruptive again and get to KJ Jefferson, but also Arkansas is going to be able to disrupt Bryce Young in that offense as well. Those Bama receivers haven't been as dominant as we've seen in years past yet. There's a lot of youth there, so it might take some time. And I don't see that starting on the road. So again, if I had to bet the game, it'd be under 16.5. But going along with that logic, I am going to take the points here with Arkansas at home plus 17.5. They have a chance to win. I mean, I call it 20% maybe. I don't think they have enough to truly slow down Alabama's offense enough. I think they can do it to the extent that they can keep this game under 60 points total and keep it within 3 scores, but I don't see them having any outright chances. It's plus 575 right now if you really just want to gamble. But yeah, give me the points with the Razorbacks at home.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to take Arkansas on the points solely because, like you said, I don't think it's going to be super high scoring. Arkansas Texas A&M has great defense, but Arkansas kind of struggled to score last week. You saw them only get to 21. I don't see them getting to 30 against Alabama, even though their secondary has kind of been torched when against true tests with Xavier Worthy and Quinn Ewers in Texas. Other than that, Arkansas's defense I like, but pass-wise, Missouri State threw for 300. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know if that was late, like against second stringers or anything. Spencer Rattler threw for over 300. So like that, there might be an issue there if Bryce Young can get going. But their pass rush is pretty elite, so that could help balance that out a little bit. But just because of that, I don't think that Alabama will be able to necessarily run away with it because they do have the athletes to kind of compete. I just don't see them pulling away with the money line win personally. but you could always sprinkle it. It's worth a chance. It's the SEC.
Yeah, throw a dart. Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, so that's the big SEC game on the slate. And now, I mean, it's where game day is, so you can call it the game of the week. Number 10, NC State has the number 5 Clemson. First time the Textile Bowl is a top 10 matchup. Clemson 6.5-point favorites at home. I mentioned earlier they won a thriller at Wake Forest last week, laying about the same number. But yeah, I mean, this hopefully won't be weather affected. It's 7:30 in prime time. I'll be there, so I really hope this hurricane has come and gone by then. I don't want to have to swim out of Death Valley if I can help it. So I really think it's going to come down to DJ and Will Shipley. It's what got us through last week. Another tough test. That one's on the road. I think Devin Leary, not nearly the deep threat that Hartman presents. So a secondary that even if we do get healthier, hopefully won't be beat up as much through the air. I mean, Leary could, but his numbers past 20 yards just are not pretty so far this year, and that's against far inferior defenses, especially up front. We might have the best guys up front in the country. Tyler Davis on track to play, I believe. Brian Brissy as well. So that'll help us get to Leary. It's something we missed a bit last week, getting to Hartman in that slow mesh. But yeah, I just think that we're going to be able to at least lean on Will Shipley if DJ can't replicate last week. I mean, I think anything close to that performance from DJ this week is enough to get it done. And I think Shipley we can lean to on the ground to maybe shorten the game a bit. I'm biased, obviously. I'm a Clemson grad, so I'm not going to try and hide that at all. I'm definitely not going to pick NC State to win as long as Dave Doran's the head coach. I don't care that he beat his last year in overtime. The guy's an idiot. So give me Clemson. Give me the 6.5. The total's interesting. I personally wouldn't touch it. It's right where you think it's got to be over, but with experience in this, sometimes our defense is locked down and it does just enough to help the offense out if the offense is sputtering as well. So if you think it's a sure over, I promise you it's not. I have no thoughts on the total because I'm terrible at them. But yeah, so give me the touchdown with my guys.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like you're saying, hopefully the weather kind of calms down by the 7:30 start time. I'm also going to go with Clemson -7. Leary struggled against FBS teams. I mean, ECU was just terrible. He didn't play well. NC State didn't play well. They got kind of lucky with a doink there. And when they played Texas Tech, I watched a little bit of that as like a Big 12 fan. I try and watch as many of the Big 12 games as I can. He was really only hitting, like you're saying, short crossing routes. Like anything past 20 yards, he's not necessarily elite at. I know he has kind of maybe taken a step back from last year. And with some of the guys from Clemson getting a little more healthy, that'll minimize any downfield opportunities. And y'all's front seven is top tier. I mean, one of the best, if not the best, top seven